Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Allen W. Sugarman Field here in Fort Lee for opening pitch between Fort Lee and Teaneck. Dan Long, joined by Mike Lopresti. Happy that you could join us here on our Fort Lee Athletics broadcast page here on YouTube. Teaneck 9-8 on the season. They were a team that qualified for the Bergen County tournament. As that pitch taken high for a ball, 1-1. Trying to look to win here on the road against Fort Lee, looking for their fifth win of the season. As taking the mound is Louis Nakajima, the junior left-hander. 1-1 pitch. Missing high on the curveball. As the first pitch was knocked into the backstop for a foul ball. This leadoff man is Aries Samick, number 14, the shortstop. Nakajima missing high again. And now the count is run to a 3-1 count. Samick pouncing on that one, also carrying into the backstop. And Coach Samick is a highly thought of senior. He leads Teaneck in runs scored, hits, triples, and stolen bases on the season. He's the engine of this Highwaymen offense. 3-2, swing and a miss on the low pitch in the dirt, and that's going to be strike three swinging. And Samick is retired to begin play here in the top of the first inning.
Hey, nice work by Nakajima coming back. A little high in the zone, but he battled through that at bat. Has a really good hitter there, and got him fishing.
That'll bring up Kevin Sanchez, the center fielder. The senior hitting from the left side has collected 16 hits, 18 runs scored, and 10 RBIs on the season. Takes the first pitch outside for a ball, 1-0.
Yeah, I like how Nakajima has that little hesitation in his windup. That's something that can really throw off the hitters.
The 1-0 missing high as well. It's now 2-0. Louis Nakajima is 0-1 with a 4.77 ERA on the season, and with his first strikeout of the game, giving him now 6 strikeouts on the season for the Bridgemen. The 2-0. Floats that one into the middle of the strike zone for the first strike of the at-bat against Sanchez. Now it's 2-1. Teaneck coming into this game off a 12-6 victory on the road against Tenafly. The 2-1 is ripped into center field, and that's going to go over the center fielder's head, and that's going to keep on rolling. As Sanchez has the wheels, he's around second. He's threatening for an inside-the-park home run. He's rounding third, and he's going to go in easily. Standing at home plate after he rocketed that one over the shortstop's head as Park had no chance to get it. And it's a 1-0 lead for Teaneck now with the inside-the-park home run for Kevin Sanchez.
Hey, that's one of the toughest plays. That was a hard-hit line drive for center fielder right at him. And, he froze. Our center fielder froze there, and it just took off. Wind's blowing out today, and, once he didn't take that step back, he didn't have a chance for it.
So Sanchez gets Teaneck on the board and in front 1-0 on the solo home run. That'll bring up the third place hitter, Luis Ramirez, the second baseman, hitting from the right side. First pitch from Nakajima is low to Ramirez, 1-0.
Well, that's better. He needs to work down in the zone. When you're up in the zone and the ball's carrying like it is today, could be a lot of bombs.
That one's a rocket shot handled by the first baseman. Nice glove there at first by Irizarry. And now there's two-way here in the top of the first inning and 1-run home for the visitors.
A great play there, Ryan. Backhand play, hard hit ball, and was able to beat the runner to the first. That's a really awesome play there. Top shelf play.
That'll bring up the cleanup hitter now, the sophomore, number 21, Aiden Vargas. Vargas, 6 hits on the season, has driven in 3 runs himself. First ball swinging, and he'll foul that into the backstop. Now 0-1 the count.
So you can see how Teaneck is extremely aggressive hitting up there. They're all swinging at the first pitch.
The 0-1 delivery from the left-hander is high. And Katayama, who's the catcher here today, had to stand up to make that play. The Fort Lee defense behind Nakajima, Barakos, Park, and Casal in the outfield. Rose at third, Shulman at short, Rivera at second. Irizarry, who we saw just moments ago manning first base with Katayama, as you mentioned, doing the catching. Trying to secure that final out of the inning after surrendering an inside the park home run. And as you mentioned, Coach, that was a line drive to center field, and it just kind of looked like Park was thinking it might be right at him, and it just kept on carrying here today in this hot afternoon.
Yeah, well, and a couple of things, right? So first, in this field, especially in center field, goes over the center fielder's head and the ball hits that line drive off the turf. I mean, you might as well get a scooter to go and chase it. Because it's like 500-600 feet away. But there's a simple thing. You have the bill of your hat. So what we try to teach outfielders on line drives hit right at you. And I'll wait till this pitch.
As that's fouled off out of play.
That we basically tell the outfielders it's a real simple rule. If the ball is above the brim of your hat, back. If the ball is at the brim or below, in. And then, and if you're not sure, freeze. So it looked like he was unsure there. He froze, but that ball was scorched. So it just beat him up, and the wind just took it over his head.
Nakajima trying to end the top portion of the first inning. Again, another foul off. Good at bat here by Vargas, the first baseman. Nakajima struck out Samek, the leader of this lineup for Teaneck, to lead off the game. Gave up the inside the park homer to Sanchez, and then got a ground ball out by Ramirez to first base. The lefty sets and fires, and again, driven foul down the third base line.
So what Nakajima's doing here, he's like throwing a lot of strikes now. And you can see the Teaneck batters are really, really aggressive. So what he has to do is he has to continually change speeds with these aggressive hitters.
We'll see if he'll go more to the off-speed variety here, as he bounces that one low in the dirt, and it's going to be a walk earned by Aiden Vargas, a two-out walk, and that'll bring up the fifth place hitter, number 24, Gabe Castro, the third baseman.
Tremendous at bat by Vargas, right? Forced the pitcher to throw a lot of pitches in the first inning, and usually that equates not lasting long for the pitcher.
Castro, a good hitter in this lineup, 17 hits on the season, has driven in 10 runs, and also earned 8 walks as well. Breaking pitch in the dirt, 1-0, the count against Gabe Castro. For this Teaneck side, they're currently in second place in the Big North National Division with a 5-4 divisional record behind Pascack Valley, who's already clinched the league championship. A great season for the Highwaymen. There's a fastball, or an off-speed pitch, I should say, strike to even the count at 1-1. A great season so far, Coach, for Teaneck. 9-8 on the year. They qualified for the Bergen County tournament. They won in the first round against Cliffside Park, and then were sent home by the top seed, Don Bosco Prep. There's the throw over to first. It gets away from the first baseman, and that's going to allow Vargas to head down to second. He makes the turn and will go all the way down to third before it's finally fielded by Fort Lee to get it back into the infield.
Well, that's an unfortunate break there for Fort Lee. The ball skipped by, went into the runner, and Izarari wasn't able to fill it. But our right fielder needs to anticipate and hustle over to the line and back that up. His failure to get there earlier enabled the runner to go from first all the way to third.
So now a runner at third base with 2 outs, 1-0 lead for Teaneck. Ground ball. It's going to be taken on one bounce by Shulman at short, throw over, takes the first baseman off the bag, but does it enough down the line that the first baseman will just administer the tag, and Irizarry get out of the first, allowing only 1 run, and that being the inside the park home run by Kevin Sanchez. We head to the bottom of the first in the first plate appearance for the Bridgemen as they trail Teaneck 1-0 here on YouTube. Back here at Sugarman Field, and we're going to be getting ready for the bottom of the first inning. 1-0 lead for Teaneck. Now let's meet the starting lineup here today for Fort Lee. Leading off is going to be the center fielder, Jay-Woo Park. Hitting second is Keizu Katayama, the catcher. Hitting third is Joseph Rosa, the third baseman. The cleanup hitter is Dylan Schulman, the leading batting average on the season for the Bridgemen. Hitting fifth is Stefano Casal, playing right field. Hitting sixth, Achilles Barakos, manning left field. Hitting seventh, the first baseman, Ryan Irizarry. Hitting eighth, Javier Rivera, the second baseman. And hitting ninth, the pitcher, Luis Nakajima. And they'll be going against number 13, Michael Quinn, the junior on the mound here today for the visiting Highwaymen of Teaneck High School. Quinn has pitched 9 innings of work, 4 strikeouts, 12 runs allowed, 11 earned on the season. On the defense behind Quinn, in the outfield for Teaneck, it's going to be Meyer in left field, Sanchez in center, McDowell in right. Castro at third, Samek the outstanding shortstop, Ramirez at second, Vargas at first base, and Kenny Castro doing the catching behind the dish here for Michael Quinn. So now we'll see the offense at work here for Fort Lee. An offense that really couldn't get going in yesterday's loss here at home against Cliffside Park, 10-3. As Cliffside Park scored 7 combined runs in the last 2 innings to strengthen their lead after it was a 1-run game for the majority of the contest. Here's Jay-Woo Park leading things off. He'll ground that one high over the third baseman, and the shortstop could not field it cleanly. And there's going to be a leadoff hit on the first pitch of the game for Jay-Woo Park. And Park will reach safely.
That's a turf hit right there, right? He pounded first pitch, being aggressive, pounded into the turf, and just bounced over the third baseman's head.
Park, the senior, collecting his 13th hit of the year for Fort Lee. And that'll bring up Keizu Katayama, the catcher here today, number 17. Katayama hitting .422 on the season. Really? Takes that first pitch high for a ball, 1-0.
Quinn, really short, compact, really quick to the plate. We're running around first there. Might be tough to steal.
The right-hander taking a look at first base at where Park is. His second pitch is also going to be low against Katayama, 2-0 the count.
So a lot of coaches teach that slide step and try to keep the runners close. But what also happens is it's a different timing with your stroke, with your pitching stroke. And it could affect your command and your velocity.
That pitch is low at the knees. It's going to be the first strike. 2-1 the count on a beautiful sunny day in the 70s here in Fort Lee. Katayama second on the team in some categories, but leading in runs, hits, doubles, and stolen bases on the year. He'll try to float that one out to center field, but ranging over. Nice play there by Sanchez, using that speed as he was drifting over to the left field side to make the first put out of the game. One away here with the runner still at first base.
Hit the ball well right there, left center field. Center fielder really tracked it down very, very well. You know, on that play, though, Jay-Woo needs to get further off the base on that play. If he knocks it down, you know, goes in the gap, he has to be able to score from first on there. Him making that only went halfway there, wasn't enough.
Pickoff move just not there in time, trying to keep Jay-Woo Park, as you're mentioning, Coach, close to the first base bag.
Quick feet. That was a nice move.
That'll bring him the third place hitter for Fort Lee, Joseph Rosa, the junior, hitting .359 on the season. Curveball, and there goes Park into second base. Feet first for the stolen base, and now he's down in scoring position with still only 1 out here in the bottom of the first inning.
Hey, tremendous jump. Went on first move and beat the throw by easily.
And that's been the element of the offense this year for Coach Peter Kraljic Jr. 37 stolen bases now and 43 opportunities for Fort Lee. They've been running early and often and very successful as that breaking pitch fell into the strike zone against Rosa for a strike. For a team that's been averaging about 5.6 runs per game, manufacturing the runs by getting stolen bases can lead to bigger innings.
Well, clearly, because you got to realize that most of the time you're stealing off the pitcher. And if once your runners can get a read on pitcher's move and his pitcher's wind up to home, stealing a base is a high percentage play.
Rose a good RBI man here. 13 runs driven in this season for the Bridgmen. There's a pitch low in the dirt. That's going to allow Park to venture down to third base. So Park led off the game with a single, then stole second base, and now on the wild pitch will head down to third base. And now Fort Lee can potentially tie the game up with a simple sac fly.
Yeah, even with backstop here again, dirt balls, anticipate it, be aggressive, you can get bases pretty easily.
Quinn's delivery. Rosa popping that one into the backstop.
Well, here it is in the big leagues. The big stat, like how many runs can you score from third with less than 2 outs? And there's a lot of guys in the big leagues that are really struggling at it this year. So let's see if Fort Lee can capitalize on it.
Even a ground ball on the opposite side could get Park home here. With 2 strikes against him, Rosa trying to get the clutch hit. He'll step out and ask for time and be granted that timeout.
You're right, Dan. The infield's playing back, so they're trading an out for a run right here. Teaneck is.
It's a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the first inning for Teaneck. Quinn looking for a big strikeout, potentially get that second out of the inning.
Sometimes, when I would coach, I would have the first baseman play even with the bag, so he'd be the only one that would freeze to run around third. But not here in Teaneck. They have everybody back.
Another low pitch. And it looks like Park's going to come around and score standing up. So Park using his speed to get around the base paths and eventually score on the second wild pitch of the at-bat to Rosa, who will venture down to first base on the walk. So Fort Lee has come back to tie this game up, Coach, and good heady base running there by the leadoff hitter, Jae-Woo Park.
Tremendous running play right there from Jae-Woo. Clearly, right, with a short backstop, and it caught Teaneck napping. Pitcher never covered home.
So still only 1 out here in the bottom of the first inning. Tie game now at 1-1. That'll bring up the cleanup hitter, Dylan Shulman. Shulman takes the first pitch for a strike, 0-1. Shulman, the leading hitter on the season for Fort Lee, hitting .442. 1 home run, 16 RBIs, and tied for the team lead with 19 hits. Takes that pitch inside, backed off the plate for a ball, 1-1.
I don't know if you heard that at home. Looks like we're getting bombed or something like that. Something fell on the roof or something. I don't know. It shook me a little bit. What's going on up there?
Curveball breaks in for a strike to get ahead of Shulman now, 1-2. I just froze, Coach. I was almost like the center fielder in the top of the first inning. I did not know what was going on, but I just wanted to stay set and keep on calling the game for those at home.
That's our crack camera crew up there.
As the ball missing outside, evening the count now at 2-2. Shulman has had a great year, leading the team in average RBIs and hits, while playing a strong shortstop position as well.
Base hit.
And there's another base hit, giving him 20 hits on the season as he floats that into center field. And Fort Lee threatening to take the lead now with runners at first and second, still with only 1 out here in the bottom of the first inning.
Hey, he hit right in the screws, line drive into the outfield. Awesome at bat by Dylan. Great job.
And that'll bring up Stefano Casal, the senior, who's playing right field today, hitting .298 on the season. 1 home run, 10 RBIs, 14 hits for Casal. He jumps on the first pitch that he sees and fouls that back, 0-1.
Yeah, Fort Lee has a really good approach against Quinn right now. So they need to keep the rally going.
Quinn has given up a leadoff hit to Jae-Woo Park. Got an out with a fly out to center by Katayama, but that was a hard hit out as well.
It was.
As he skips that one in the dirt. That hurt him against Joseph Rosa after he threw a couple of wild pitches in that at-bat against the third-place hitter. Eventually, Park came around to score on a second wild pitch. Rosa's down at second base after the Shulman single. Again, missing low. Hasn't had that control and that location on the low pitches there, Coach.
No, and Castro, the catcher, has done a much better job keeping the balls in front of him now. But JoJo on second base, JoJo Rosa, he is aggressive lead. He's anticipating ball in the dirt. Ball gets away, he's going to take third.
Casal ripping that one. He'll deposit that one in between left and center field. That'll score the go-ahead run. Shulman will get into third base, and there's a stand-up double for Stefano Casal as he drives in the second run of the afternoon, and Fort Lee takes their first lead of the ball game at 2-1.
Yep, Stefano comes through right there and puts 2 men in scoring position, still with only 1 out.
And you could just see that aggressive hitting that you were mentioning throughout this first inning for Fort Lee, Coach, that they just have that right approach, anticipating when Quinn is coming up with a pitch. They're laying off the low pitches in the dirt. They're not going for those swings and misses. And they're waiting for the pitches. And a couple of these hitters, including the one out for Katayama, they've been hard hit balls. Quinn not fooling anybody just yet in this game.
No, he's not fooling anybody. He's breaking pitchers in the dirt, so he has to.
Will move him down to first base, and now Fort Lee still with 2 base runners on the bags, first and second base occupied with 2 outs here in a productive bottom of the first inning.
Keep the line moving. That's what they got to do. Keep it going.
Javier Rivera will come up now and take the first pitch he sees for a strike. The second baseman behind in the count, 0-1. Rivera hitting 184 on the season, 7 hits, 1 RBI, but a chance here for a second RBI. Swings out in front of that one, now quickly behind, 0-2.
Yeah, Rivera needs to cover that outside corner. He has a little trouble with that outside pitch. But if Quinn comes inside, he's going to rip it.
Quinn going to the outside, but missing low. 1-2 the count. So Teaneck struck for an inside-the-park home run in the top portion of the first inning. Fort Lee has roared right back with 3 runs themselves to take a 3-1 advantage. Bounce in the dirt, gets by the catcher. Casal will head down to third base, right behind him into second base. Irizarry. Good base running again by Fort Lee, anticipating those pitches missing and skittering away from the catcher.
Yeah, and you know, Quinn is struggling out there, and he's starting to, you can see his body language is not very good right now.
That pitch missing high. Now, if you were the head coach there for Teaneck, Coach Lepresti, would you have your catcher go out and try to settle down your pitcher, or do you even think at this point in the game going out and talking to the pitcher yourself just to calm him down? As that time he elicits a foul ball into the backstop, it stills 2 strikes against Rivera.
Well, in general, not knowing the player, yes, I would have been out there and try to calm him down and try to get him just to refocus on his fundamentals and stick with the plan, whatever the plan it was.
Trying to get out of this inning, allowing only 3 runs. Tries to go inside again, and he misses there, and there's ball 4 against Rivera. So Rivera, who started behind in that at-bat, fought back to earn the walk, and now it's going to be the 9th hitter of the inning. It's going to be the pitcher, Louis Nakajima, trying to help his own cause out with the bases loaded and 2 away.
Yeah, Fort Lee has batted around.
Nakajima hitting from the left side, takes the first pitch from Quinn for a strike.
You know, and this, and Teaneck's a good team here, so they can jumping on them early so they capitalize right here in the first inning.
Nakajima with 1 RBI in the season and 3 hits. Known more for his pitching acumen. 1-1 count as he lays off that pitch. The 1-1 from Quinn. Kind of fell off the mound as he delivered that. That's going to be trouble, and trying to leg it out down the first base side. And they're going to say just in time for the 3rd out as Nakajima tried to will his way to an infield single that will home the 4th run of the inning. Instead, that will end things here for the first inning of play, but not before Fort Lee posts a 3 spot there in the bottom of the first inning as the Bridgemen will lead the Highwaymen by a score of 3-1 as we head to the 2nd inning of play. You're watching Fort Lee Baseball here on YouTube. We head to the top of the second inning, a 3-1 lead for Fort Lee in search of their 5th win of the season, trying to knock off Teaneck, who's been one of the powerhouse programs of late in the season. A surprise performance by the Highwaymen this season. Again, coming into this game second in the Big North National. They've had a win in the county tournament under their belts this season. They defeated Cliffside Park 13-3 in that first round of tournament play on May 15th. They earned the number 16 overall seed in the county tournament. A big performance earlier this season. They even one-hit their arch-rival Hackensack in a 10-0 win on April 30th. And they currently reside in second place. As we get underway, this would be a quality win for Fort Lee if they could keep things going. Pitch missing out there with Nakajima, now 1-1. As he's taking on his counterpart, Michael Quinn. Nakajima was retired on a ground ball from Quinn to end that bottom portion of the first inning with the bases loaded after a beautiful defensive play by the third baseman, Castro. And that's a rip shot there into center field. Ranging over is going to be Park. And there's going to be a leadoff single for Teaneck to begin the top of the second inning. On the base hit there by Michael Quinn.
That was a great play. I'm sorry, that was a really great play by Park at center field. He had a great angle to cut it off before it beat him up. Just a couple of weeks ago, they were having a little trouble tracking those balls in the gaps, but that was a great job, great read, keeping in front of him, and kept the runner at first.
Second hit allowed in the game by Nakajima. The first one was that inside the park home run by Kevin Sanchez that at that point gave Teaneck a 1-0 lead in the ballgame. This will bring up Kenny Castro, the catcher, number 18. Ten hits on the season for the catcher. Breaking pitch missing.
And that's what Nakajima needs to do. He needs to show pitches just off the zone, and try to get the aggressive Teaneck hitters to go after them.
Kenny Castro leading the team with 2 home runs on the season, so he's a potential power threat here. Nakajima knowing that, missing on 2 pitches in this at-bat. High, it's now 2-0. Try to lower the strike zone there, but going a little too low, and it's now 3-0 the count with Quinn down at first base.
Yep, he needs to throw downhill more often. Outside.
Missing in 4 straight pitches to Kenny Castro, will earn the second Teaneck walk of the game, and now there's runners at first and second with nobody out here in the top of the second inning.
See, so again, we talk about this all the time. After your team scores runs, you have to put up a shutdown inning. Got to keep the other team off the scoreboard. And getting the first 2 guys on is going to make it difficult.
That'll bring up number 22, Tyler McDowell. McDowell, the right fielder, 13 hits on the season, 7 RBIs.
Let's see if Teaneck bunts here, and they're not.
Swinging and driving that one back with a carom. 0-1 the count.
It just makes no sense to me. I don't understand, how baseball has changed so much. I don't know much about Teaneck, but I can tell you, first and second, no outs, bottom of the order up, I'd be bunting.
And Teaneck, coach, is a team that's averaging 6.1 runs per game, so it's not like they're this unbelievable offensive juggernaut so that you have the confidence of anyone in your lineup. You give them the green light to swing. It's like what you were saying. Why don't they go to the small ball here and put maybe 2 runners in scoring position with only sacrificing 1 potential out? There's the ground ball and a potential double play. Showman steps on second, throws too high at first base. And with that throwing error, that's going to allow Teaneck to score the second run of the game. And now McDowell going down into second base head first. He's safe as well. So Teaneck avoids having a disastrous double play ground ball there. And they do score a run on the throwing error there by Shulman after Shulman had stepped on second base and his throw just went too high of the first baseman's glove. As Irizarry could not do anything there. And good hustle in the play by McDowell to get all the way back into scoring position. It's now a one-run lead for Fort Lee.
Well, the positive side is got an out, traded an out for a run. But that was a double play ball, and unfortunately, Dylan got his feet mixed up there at the bag, caused a wild throw.
Nakajima missing inside now, 1-0 to Justin Meyer, the left fielder.
Right now, the old school was in that play, you would catch the ball and you would drag your back foot across the bag and throw off your front foot outside the runner. But the quickest way to do it is you would start your throw and have your left foot land on the bag and then use that as your support to throw to first. It's a lot quicker and a lot more stable. And the runners can't get to you because the base protects you.
As Nakajima missing that one, but McDowell not going to be trying it and advance down to third base. But more importantly, Coach, on that play, if Shulman completes the double play throw, it makes the two of us sound like geniuses about doing the play the small ball, have the sacrifice bunt, move the runners. What could have been.
Yeah,
that goes low for ball 4.
But I still think we were right because it proved that, a bunt there, you advance 2 runners, you trade an out for 2 at base advance. They just, they got lucky. They got a break. Should have been a double play.
Now it goes back to the top of the order and the dangerous Aries Samek, the shortstop strikeout victim, the lone strikeout of the game for Teaneck. He's 0 for 1, but now he has runners at first and second with the tying run down at second base. Here with 1 away in the top of the second inning. Nakajima's release a little too high there, missing on that breaking pitch, 1-0 the count.
Yeah, Louis needs to stand taller and throw downhill.
There's a good pitch over the heart of the plate for a strike to even the at-bat at 1-1. Against Samek again, as we mentioned, fans. 25 hits on the season, 21 runs scored, and 16 stolen bases. Runner is going from second to third on the stolen base, and he'll get it cleanly, even after he slides off of third base briefly. So now it's going to be runners at the corners with 1 out here and the tying run down at third base.
And you can see there, the runner on second, he probably stole on his own there because the runner on first didn't follow up, or the runner on first just missed a sign. But it looks like he just got jump, and Louis needs to alter his looks at the runners on the base. He can't just look once and then go because then the runners can time it. Here comes that potent first and third double steal situation.
Missing low, bouncing, and now that will allow the base runner from first base to follow behind and get into second base safely. So Justin Meyer, who just earned a walk, is now in scoring position, and here's a potential big inning for Teaneck. Runners at second and third, with still only 1 out in the top of the second inning. 3-2 lead for Fort Lee in the game. Swing and a miss by Samek. He was chasing after that low pitch, lower than his ankles.
Yeah, he's jumping at he needs to have the game come to him right now. Now he's trying to force the issue, and that usually doesn't result in a positive outcome. Right now, Fort Lee's playing halfway up the middle.
Base hit could score potentially 2 here, and Samek, knowing it, lays off that pitch, and that's going to be ball 4. And Coach, now Nakajima has walked 3 in the second inning and 4 hitters in the game.
Well, he's throwing a lot of pitches, and he needs to really find himself out there and just slow his body down a little bit.
Now, the same thing I asked you, Coach, in the first inning with Quinn on the mound for Teaneck. Do you think about going out and talking to your pitcher now if you're Fort Lee?
Absolutely. I'd take a walk out there and just settle him down a little bit because he's pressing right now, or he's aiming, trying to aim the ball in, which is shortens your arm swing and slows your arm swing down.
He has to be careful here against Sanchez, who took him yard back in the first inning for a home run. That one hit off of the glove of the catcher Katayama, who located it in time before the tying run could potentially come around to score down the third base line. Sanchez had that frozen rope that he hit over the head of the center fielder Park, that if there was an offense here, it'd probably still be rolling. There's another lazy curveball, and that time just did not break inside the top of the strike zone, so missing there in a ball. Nakajima has nowhere to put Sanchez with the bases loaded here. Popped foul.
Well, still one out, so a ground ball could end the inning. A double play, get out of the inning right here.
And still preserve a potential lead here for Fort Lee in
Yep.
the process. They've allowed 1 run here in the second inning. Nakajima missing high.
Yeah, he really needs to settle down, collect himself, refocus, get back to fundamentals, release point in front of his face.
Haven't seen a lot of fastballs yet in this game. A lot of breaking pitches. That time chasing up high and fouled into the catcher's mitt. And that is a huge strikeout there for Nakajima as he retires Kevin Sanchez for the second out of the second as the bases remain loaded here for Teaneck.
Yeah, lefty right there. Took advantage of it, and the batter just was too over aggressive. The pressure's always on the pitcher when it's bases loaded. So the hitters just need to slow everything down and let the play come to them.
Luis Ramirez, who grounded out to first base his first time up in the first inning, 0 for 1, takes the first pitch for a breaking pitch strike.
Oh, number 3 hitter, bases loaded.
Ramirez leads the team in RBIs, 18 on the season for Teaneck. He has the bases full here with 2 outs. High pitch, though, missed by Nakajima. Prime opportunity here for Ramirez to put his team back in the lead with 1 swing of the bat. Nakajima trying to weather the storm here. And he's 1 strike away after breaking that one in over the far side of the strike zone. There's now 2 strikes against Luis Ramirez. A big pitch. Nakajima, check swing by Ramirez. He was thinking about it. Good job there of laying off that high pitch, but he was certainly having his eyes aflutter, trying to think about chasing that high pitch in the strike zone. Good plate discipline there by the senior second baseman. That calls for time. Bases loaded, 1 run home here in the second inning. 3-2 lead, though, for Fort Lee, trying to get out of the inning still with the lead. Missing low, and now the count is run full with the bases loaded.
So everybody's going to be on the move on here. All 3 basemen are going to be running on the pitch. The infielders need to hold their position. Nobody needs to cover. Plays the first.
Nakajima missing high. There's ball 4. That is going to be the 4th walk surrendered of the inning. And a run will come home to score. And now the game is tied at 3-3.
Well, I'm surprised. I can't believe there hasn't been anybody out there to try to talk to him a little bit. And there's nobody warming up in the bullpen. So let's see if he can find it. This hitter right here, number 4.
4th place hitter is Aiden Vargas, the first baseman, number 21. Vargas drew the first walk of the game back in the first inning, as Nakajima has allowed 2 runs here in the second. And missing again high. And Coach Lepresti, we've only had 1 hit here for the Highwaymen in the second inning. And that was the leadoff hitter, Michael Quinn. Everything else have been balls. As Nakajima gets that strike there.
Well, you know, it's really funny at the high school level particularly. Sometimes you can lull the team to sleep by not throwing a lot of strikes. And then when you find it, you stun them.
Chasing after that pitch that was going to be low, and now it's 2 strikes here against Vargas.
I mean, I've been on the mound, and I've lost the zone, and it's not a fun feeling. You know, you're in there, you're trying to think like, get my mechanics straightened up, refocus, trying to, get the ball in the right spot, and it's not a easy thing to get through.
Nakajima ahead of the count here, looking for strike 3, and he'll get it there. And a cold 3rd strike. So Nakajima does retire the side there with the backwards K, his 3rd strike of the game. But he does surrender the tying runs in that inning as Teaneck fights back after being down 3-1. We head to the bottom of the second here in Fort Lee with the game knotted at 3 runs apiece here on YouTube. We head to the bottom of the second now with the game tied at 3-3. Teaneck scored once in the first and now twice in the second. Fort Lee manufactured a 3-run first inning themselves as they're going to get back to the top of the order. And Jae-Woo Park. Park led off this game with a single, stole second base, came around to score after a pair of consecutive wild pitches to give Fort Lee the tying run at 1-1 at that point. As Quinn has had problems, just like Nakajima, of finding his location so far early in this ballgame.
Well, Jae-Woo doing the job there, right? Working the count, leadoff hitter, needed base runners.
Another low pitch. So kind of like how Quinn and Nakajima have been identical here today. They've been missing. When they've been missing, it's been low. And Nakajima sometimes missing high as well out of the strike zone. As I say that, Quinn decides to replicate to miss outside and high. And there's a leadoff walk for Fort Lee to begin the bottom portion of the second inning. Third walk of the game for Fort Lee hitters.
And Jae-Woo Park is a base stealer out there, so to get the rally started, good man to be on first.
Park stole his team-leading 10th stolen base back in the first inning. First ball swinging is Katayama. Katayama setting that down the line to the left field side, and it hooks foul and out of play. Good hustle down the left field line there by Meyer to see if he was going to be able to be in the vicinity to make that first out of the inning. Katayama flew out to center field his first time up 0 for 1 this afternoon for the second leading hitter on the team. Fort Lee with 3 hits in this game along with 3 walks earned. There goes Park. He's running and he's stealing again. Give him now his 11th stolen base of the season in 14 opportunities. And Fort Lee is running wild here today, Coach Mike Lopresti, as they are really being aggressive in taking those extra bases against the Highwaymen.
Yep, clearly, and you keep running until they can stop you, and right now doesn't look like they can.
Mound back again with a hard rip by Katayama. A .422 hitter on the season, tied for the team lead with 19 runs scored, 19 hits coming into today's game, but now he's second to Dylan Shulman after Shulman collected his team-leading 20th hit of the game, or of the season, I should say, earlier. Katayama also with a team-leading 4 doubles. A double here would easily score Park with a go-ahead run for Fort Lee. Trying to put Quinn on the ropes again here. Katayama laying off that pitch outside and wide of the strike zone.
Well, that was a breaking pitch there, so at least he's trying to mix it up. But again, he still doesn't have command on it. So Fort Lee just sitting on fastballs.
On a day where it was 80 degrees at opening pitch. There's another high heater missing inside, and it's back-to-back walks now surrendered by Quinn to begin the bottom of the second inning. And the first 2 runners are on safely for Fort Lee, trying to recapture the lead here with the game tied at 3-3.
So now this is Fort Lee's number 3 hitter, so they should not bunt here. They should not. They should be trying to have a big inning with heart of the order up, with first and second no out. And he squares the bunt. There you go.
And they throw down to second as Park is able to get back into second base safely, as that pitch was going to be low to the outside after squaring around to bunt.
It's an unconventional year for all of us, and definitely it gets carried over to the baseball book.
But it is interesting, Coach. Like you said, he's a .359 hitter on the season, is driven in 13, also leads the team with 13 walks on the year. Had a walk in his first plate appearance, and he was at the plate when Park came around to score after 2 consecutive wild pitches. It's almost like, why in this situation would you give Quinn help and give him an out after he's really been struggling to find the strike zone?
There he goes.
There's a nice off-speed pitch for a swinging strike.
But here's another thing, right? So he's number 3 hitter, which means he's one of their best hitters. You're giving up that bat, one of your better hitters, to move guys over, right? It's a productive out. But then now all the other team has to do is with open base, walk number 4. So then essentially the other team could do is take your 3 and 4 hitters out of the lineup, out of the mix, just by bunting to number 3. And that's why it's really done.
Pitch going to the inside corner for the second strike now against Rosa. As he looks down to his coaching staff, sees what the play call is. With runners at first and second, nobody out here. Tie ball game, bottom 2. Rosa ripping that one down to the third baseman, who dropped it, threw down to second, and then on to first, trying to complete what could have been a triple play on the play.
It looked to me he dropped that on purpose. That's what it looked like to me.
Because it was going to be an easy fielding play there as it went right at him. He dropped it, then tagged the bag, threw to second, and if Rosa wasn't running down the line, that would have been a triple play.
And I'm telling you right now, without question, that looked to me like he dropped the ball on purpose. Look, I'm as far away, as anybody here in the stadium, but that was a humpback line drive, and he purposely didn't close his glove. He just patted it down. He played patty cake into the ground, and almost got a triple play out of it. And again, these amateur umpires, he doesn't agree with me.
That's a heady play there by Gabe Castro, thinking on the fly, as that was not really the hardest hit ball down to the third base line, but certainly as we both were seeing from our vantage point here, that was going to be an easy fielding play for him, but decided to take more outs given to him.
Yes, without question. Heady play.
Now it's Dylan Shulman at the plate, who's 1 for 1 with a single back in the first.
Well, I'm telling you, just in baseball history, the reason why we have the infield fly rule is because a pretty heady ball player named Jackie Robinson, he would have a habit of with first and second or bases loaded with an infield pop-up, he would do exactly the same thing. He would purposely drop the ball to try to get a double play. And then baseball gods, the rule book, they made the rule that batter's automatically out. There's a couple other rules that Jackie Robinson got into the rule book. But again, that to me, that's exactly what it looked like.
And that's the same thing that if you were coaching, you would be yelling out at the umpires or kindly suggesting to them that should have been an infield fly opportunity there?
I think yelling and screaming, not being kindly, is more accurate.
At least you're brutally honest. I was trying to give you an out there, Mike.
No, that was pretty obvious to me.
So Shulman now with a runner at first, but 2 away after Fort Lee was looking like they would have a big inning, but there is still hope for that big inning as Shulman will earn the 3rd walk of the inning. So now both pitchers in this game, and we're not even through 2, have surrendered 5 walks in the contest, as the 2nd inning has been a walk bonanza between both teams. Runners at first and second now for Casal, with a chance with a base hit to maybe recapture the lead for the Bridgemen. Casal not wasting any time will ground that down to short and throwing over is Samek in time for the 6-3 putout, and that will get us through the 2nd inning of play. So a 3-3 ball game between Fort Lee and Teaneck as we head to the top of the 3rd inning on a beautiful afternoon here in northern New Jersey in May. We head to the top of the third inning, a game tied at 3 runs apiece, and a game that has featured a combined 10 walks between the two pitchers.
Yeah, and, it hasn't been a walk in the park, though, unfortunately.
I was going to say this is just like real estate. It's all about location, 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 and it has been outside the strike zone location for both of these pitchers. As Gabe Castro, the third baseman who had that heady play to get the double play ball at the bottom of the second inning as the third baseman, will lead things off here for Teaneck to begin the top of the third inning against Nakajima. First ball swinging, will bounce that to second base, ranging over towards the second base bag, throws it, and not in time. Gabe Castro hustling down the line just did enough to leg out that infield single, despite the play by Rivera at second. And the leadoff hitter is on again for Teaneck.
Yeah, Rivera ranged over, covered a lot of ground, made a nice backhand play, but then he took him too many steps to stop, and which is what caused him the runner to beat it out. I mean, he did a good job. You could throw it on a couple of short hops there, right? You take advantage of the turf. But he needed to do one of those Jeter plays where you catch it and jump and throw to first, and then it would have been a lot quicker and probably would have got the guy out. But that's still a tough play. It's a play that you don't practice.
Nakajima missing on the first pitch offer to Michael Quinn. Quinn 1 for 1 as he led off the second inning with a base hit and eventually came around to score. Quinn with 15 hits in the season as he pops that one in the infield. Shulman calling for it for the easy pop-up, and the first out of the third inning, one away, was still runner down at first base.
Well, Nakajima is now throwing some strikes, so let's see if he can continue doing it.
Is it a case of he's throwing strikes, or these hitters are now impatient after all the walks and they're just jumping on anything, any semblance of a pitch close to the strike zone?
Let's hope it's both.
That'll bring up the catcher, Kenny Castro. Castro earned a walk in his first plate appearance with a curveball missing low. Good block there in front of the plate by Katayama, 1-0. Gabe Castro standing down at first base. He legged out an infield single to get underway here in the top of the third inning. A pop-up. That'll force the left fielder get on his horse, but he can't make the play. It'll take a bounce right in front of Barakos as his hat came asunder. And now it's going to be runners on first and second with one out here in the third inning.
All right, so that's one of those in the no man's land, but still, shortstop Dillon, he needs to drop, step, spin, and go after it until the left fielder calls him off. And he didn't do that. He gave up on it a little too early. And then Barakos in left field, he might have thought that was Dillon's ball all the way. He really wasn't aggressive enough.
There's McDowell immediately, first ball swinging, and lines that into right field for the base hit. And that'll move the runners station to station, and now the bases are loaded with Teaneck Highwaymen here with one out in the top of the third inning. 3 hits already for Teaneck after they had only 2 hits combined in the first 2 innings of play. And that'll bring up the 9th place hitter, number 9, Justin Meyer, the left fielder.
But it's better than walking guys, right? It's less pitches, putting the ball in play, which is exactly what they want. Better chance getting it out.
We'll see what type of adjustments Nakajima might make, seeing that Teaneck's hitters are really being ultra-aggressive, jumping on the first pitch they see in these at-bats. And there's an adjustment with a nice breaking pitch inside corner, tying up Meyer for a strike, 0-1.
Great location, up and in. Great job. Toughest pitch to hit.
Bases are loaded, one out here. Nakajima would love to get a ground ball double play. Missing a low, 1-1 the count.
Fordley set back for a double play position in the infield. Rivera should be up a little bit further and maybe a little closer to the bag. Guarantees that he gets there on a ground ball to third. Should be a double play.
Stepping on second, throw over, and in time, they say. Looked like Meyer might have beaten it from our vantage point, but the umpire is the one who has the overall say. So Shulman took it himself from second base and just had enough on the throw there, Coach. Bowman might have hesitated a little bit because didn't know whether or not he should flip it to the second baseman or take it himself. But Fort Lee does manage to get out of harm's way without surrendering a single run in that top portion of the inning.
Yeah, without question. I mean, Dylan definitely took too much time there, but I think, again, just like yesterday, I used this yesterday, that's one of those Maybelline calls. That's a makeup.
So we head to the bottom of the third inning. It's still a tie ball game between Teaneck and Fort Lee here on YouTube. So we head to the bottom of the third. Still remains a 3-3 ball game. Big play there on the ground ball double play with bases loaded. They got Fort Lee out of the top portion of the third inning. And we'll send Achilles Barakos to home plate here to begin the bottom of the third. Barakos had a sac fly that brought in a run in the first inning. He's 0 for 1 with an RBI. And again, it might have been a generous call, as it looked like, again, from our vantage point, and we'll give credit to the umpires, but it looks like Meyer might have beaten that one out as Teaneck starts off that inning with a ground ball, and Barakos is retired with one away here in the bottom of the third.
I tell you, Gabe Castro is really having a great game over there at 30. Really, he's handling the game very well. It's a second great play where he's charging the ball, and he picks and throws, as we call it. It's a pick and throw play. Awesome job right there. And plus, he's had that heady play, or he almost got a triple play.
He is a smooth player. He really is at the hot corner.
Yep.
Irizarry, the first baseman, was hit by a pitch back in the first inning. Now here with one out and nobody on in the bottom of the third inning. We'll see if Quinn can follow Nakajima's scoreless inning with the scoreless one himself. He's been pitching in and out of trouble all afternoon through the first two innings. Nakajima did get out of that bases-loaded one-out situation with the ground ball double play. Did also not give up a walk in that inning. We'll see if Quinn could also do that. After Quinn surrendered 2 walks in the first, 3 walks in the second, but in the second inning did not surrender a run himself. A couple of Houdinis on the mound here today. It's kind of surprised that it's still just a 3-3 ball game, seeing how many people we've seen running on the bases so far in the early stretches of this game, Mike.
Yep, and just like Route 4 on rush hour, there's a lot of traffic on the bases.
As Quinn sets and fires again. A couple of occasions now I've seen Quinn kind of fall off the rubber, and that has led to a pitch that's missed high in the strike zone. Missing low there, and there's ball 4. So I jinxed him after saying that Nakajima didn't have a walk surrendered in the top portion of the third. Now it's going to be a one-out walk surrender, the 6th walk of the day for Quinn on the mound for Teaneck. And now a chance for Fort Lee to once again operate with a runner on base.
Well, repeating and replicating your motion to home is so important for command and control. So the fact that if he's falling off balance, that's not going to lead to consistency, that's for sure.
Javier Rivera taking that first pitch inside for a ball. He drew a walk in the first inning. Pickoff attempt, getting away from the first baseman, but not enough. Here's Zary can think about getting down to second base as it deflected off the glove of Vargas at first. Teaneck jumped out to an early 1-0 lead. Fort Lee responded with 3 runs in the bottom of the first inning to take a 3-1 advantage. Then Teaneck put up 2 runs in the top of the second, as that one is driven into center field for a base hit. As Rivera, getting his 8th hit of the season, now puts the go-ahead run in scoring position for Fort Lee. Runners at first and second, with 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Well, here we go. So now he's got bottom of the order up, number 9. Lefty hitter, pitcher on wheels. Let's see what Fort Lee does. Try to get some action going.
As that's fouled to the backstop by Louis Nakajima. Nakajima had the bases loaded back in the first inning. 3 runs already were home. Tried to leg out an infield single, and it was a great bang-bang play by, once again, Gabe Castro, the third baseman, throwing over to retire Nakajima and end what would have been a potential 4th run of the inning. He's offering at it. It's going to be called a strike, and the base runners going back to first and second, respectively. Rivera's most recent hit, giving Fort Lee their 4th hit of the game. They've also earned 6 walks in this one, have yet to strike out. Against Michael Quinn, the right-hander. Looking for the second out as Nakajima will call for time. If Nakajima can continue things here, Jae-Woo Park awaits in the top of the order. Park has reached safely in both of his plate appearances here today. Curveball missing low to the outside.
Yep, it took the bunt off.
Again, based on how these pitchers have been thrown today, I wouldn't try any bunts. Moving to the inside, I would take my chances, Mike, of just, all right, throw me strikes.
Don't want to give up any outs, that's for sure. But sometimes, you can tell by his first at bat, he have difficulty making solid contact. So at least you get a productive out.
That one skipped in the dirt by Quinn. And now Nakajima keeping this bat alive after a couple of quick strikes against him. Runners at first and second. 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. 3-3 ball game. Fort Lee taking on Teaneck. Swing and a miss on that strike 3, swinging with that pitch low in the dirt. That might have been ball 4 that Nakajima offered at. That's the first strikeout of the day for Michael Quinn. And now there's 2 away with runners at first and second. And the top of the order we go with Jae-Woo Park, 1 for 1 this afternoon with a base hit back in the first inning. Park hitting from the right side against Quinn. Swings at that one, grounds it to Teaneck at short. Teaneck showing off the arm there with ease. And that 6-3 putout will retire the side here in the bottom of the 3rd for Fort Lee. To the 4th here on a sunny afternoon for baseball. Tie score here between Fort Lee and Teaneck. Head to the fourth inning on the top of the fourth. And back to the top of the order we go with Aries Samek. Third plate appearance, struck out in the first, drew a walk in the second. The shortstop, the engine of this offense, looking at the first pitch from Nakajima low, 1-0.
Well, talking about engine, these teams, the nicknames of these teams are actually connected.
As that one is driven foul down the left field line.
And being a history teacher, so I'm going to do a little history lesson here. So
please. I'm an American Studies major in college. Please, I will soak up everything you can tell me.
All right, so you got to understand that Fort Lee High School was built the same time the George Washington Bridge was being built.
1-1, missing high, 2-1.
So when the bridge opened, the nickname of the teams of Fort Lee, obviously then became the Bridgemen. The George Washington Bridge was a huge economic development for North Jersey.
2-2, dribbled. Nakajima coming off the mound, then a roll foul down the first base line, evening the count at 2-2.
And Bergen County was basically farmland with a few towns, a few cities, because the cities were Hackensack, Englewood. Teaneck was there too. But Teaneck didn't have a high school yet. So Teaneck, once the George Washington Bridge was built, they started to build their high school a couple years later.
As it remains a 2-2 count, Nakajima missing high, 3-2.
And then when the high school was finally built, it happened at the same time that this new state-of-the-art super highway was built from the George Washington Bridge to connect to the county seat, Hackensack.
And missing outside, there's going to be a walk. A leadoff walk to begin the fourth inning for Samek.
And that was Route 4. It was the first highway that had 2 lanes on both sides in northern New Jersey. So Teaneck then aptly named their guys, the Highwaymen. So you have the Bridgemen and the Highwaymen all happened about the same time. To me, they're probably the 2 worst sports nicknames we have in Bergen County.
I was about to say, if you are a transportation guy, you are in love with this game, with the Highwaymen and the Bridgemen.
Yeah. But they are what they are. And both buildings are beautiful architectural examples.
I was going to say that Teaneck is known, I believe their building is known as the Castle on the Hill,
yes,
if I'm correct.
Beautiful building inside and out. And Fort Lee High School, too. That colonial look.
As Sanchez gets underneath that one, will pop that one up to left field, but misplaying that one. As that'll roll behind, and that will allow Samek to get down to third, and right behind him in second base is going to be Kevin Sanchez. Sanchez, who had that inside the park home run, getting another fly ball to his benefit, as that was maybe taken by the swirling winds a bit, as it was a pop-up, should have been played in left field. And now Teaneck with runners at second and third with nobody out here in the top of the fourth inning, looking to recapture the lead for the first time since they led 1-0.
Yes, clearly. You can see Achilles misjudged it. The wind got up in the wind and just kept going, and Achilles got caught making a commitment a little too early. Just missed it.
So now Nakajima's going to have to contend with Luis Ramirez. Ramirez, again, the leading RBI man of this lineup. Had a walk his last time up in the second inning. Grounded out to first back in the first inning.
Well, now Fort Lee's in a hole with the heart of the order coming up for Teaneck. And they're playing infield in, so they're trying to cut the runoff at home. But again, because of the lack of range, whenever the infield plays up, it just adds so much to the opportunity of getting base hits for the hitter.
Samek led off the inning with a walk, and now an error by the left fielder has allowed runners at second and third. Curveball just breaking a little outside the strike zone.
Yeah, he needs to finish that. The breaking ball is really breaking a lot, but he needs to finish it more. Just a downward hook.
Time called there by Ramirez, one of the seniors in this lineup. Both schools have not played one another over the last 10 seasons. So both teams in the Big North Conference, but in separate divisions, the National and American divisions. Ramirez popping that one down the right field line, and it just hooked foul. He's trying to chase down that line, and if it hit on the white line, that would have been extra base hits and at least 2 runs home.
There's another example how the wind now almost pushed the ball back fair.
Because it looked like Coach right off the sound of the bat that even just the way that the right fielder Casal was playing it, that it was going to be well foul. But like you said, the wind swirling back, it's wreaked havoc on that pop up to left field earlier in this inning. And now helping Teaneck out here. Nakajima missing low on that pitch. Good job by Ramirez and not chasing it in the dirt. Ramirez from the right side. Runners at second and third. Tie ball game here in the fourth. Pops that one back. Casal ranging back. He'll make the play. Tagging from third and coming home to score the go-ahead run is Samek. And then nice base running behind him. Tagging from second and getting down to third base is Kevin Sanchez. So there's one away now in the fourth inning. A 4-3 lead on the sac fly by Luis Ramirez. And Teaneck now has taken the lead back at 4-3 with a runner on third and still only 1 out.
And, Ford Lee will take that any time. Trade an out for a run right there. Second and third, no outs. That's not a bad thing right there.
That'll bring up Aiden Vargas. Vargas, the first baseman, with a walk and a strikeout looking in the game.
Fort Lee will do it again. They'll trade an out for a run right here.
Vargas, one of the 3 strikeout victims against Nakajima here this afternoon. He'll reset himself after stepping off the back of the rubber. Would love to find a way to get that second out without a productive run here. It's a ground ball to third. The throw is going to be to home, and we'll see with the tag, and it will be an out. Great job there. As Rosa, not hesitating at all, the ball was hit to the third baseman, and he made the play down to the catcher Katayama, who held on to it to get a second out. And now there's 2 away with a runner down at first base. Good infield work there by the Bridgman. And now 2 away in the inning.
Well, with the number 4 hitter up, Fort Lee rolls the dice, played infield, and it worked. Hit a 2-hopper right at JoJo, threw a strike to home, perfect play.
2 away with a runner at first now here in the top of the 4th inning. 1 run home in the inning for Teaneck. Nakajima missing high against number 24, Gabe Castro. Castro had a base hit his last appearance in the 3rd inning. Also grounded out to short back in the 1st inning. 1 for 2 this afternoon. Castro will pop that one down the right line, and that'll fall in fair as Casal was ranging over and waved around and trying to score. No, they'll come back to the third base bag. Good throw in by Casal. The coach in the third base box was waving the runner coming around to score, and Aiden Vargas, but then Vargas hit the brakes and maybe decided that that was not going to be the best option for him. Good job defensively by Casal of preventing that runner from scoring. So now it's going to be runners at the corners with still 2 out.
I don't know. To me, it looked like both Casal and the runner thought that ball was foul.
Yeah, exactly.
And the wind just took it back fair.
Here's Michael Quinn trying to help himself out. His team has already staked him out to a lead for the 2nd time in this ball game. And the pitcher is now trying to extend that lead. Teaneck has never led by more than 1 in this game. Runners at the corners, 2 away here, top of the 4th. Quinn get it right back into the glove of Nakajima, who fields his position beautifully and will end the inning. Of hard-hit balls there to end the inning, but it ends it with only 1 run being scored here for Teaneck. They'll take the 4-3 lead into the bottom of the 4th inning as you're watching Bridgman Baseball on YouTube. Bottom of the fourth inning, 1-run lead now for Teaneck. Quinn has put up a pair of zeros in the last couple of innings.
However, a lot of wear and tear in his arms. Let's see if the Bridgman can get a rally going.
Kanayama, the second place hitter, flew out to center field in the first inning, drew a walk in the second inning. Again, one of the hottest hitters in this lineup all season long. Doing the catching here today, .422 hitter on the season. Swings and fouls that one off. As it looks like, Coach, with Nakajima and also with Quinn, after really being outside the strike zone, they've kind of just been deciding, I'm just going to throw pitches here and make the hitters retire themselves out, after both have been a little more aggressive in the strike zone. As soon as I say that, outside for a ball.
Yeah, but I tell you, that's just a basic strategy, pitch to contact. You know, you don't have, like, overpowering stuff. That's all you should be doing. It's pitching to contact. Right? Hitting's all timing. And he walks the first guy.
Which is surprising, too, because, and we were saying this off air, that the infield that Teaneck has, especially at third base with Gabe Castro and Samek at short, if I were a pitcher for the Highwaymen, I just want to get as many ground balls that way because they are two slick fielding and smart, defensive players that can make you look, make you look great just by putting it in contact. So it's kind of a surprise as now Teaneck is going to be going to their bullpen for a pitching change. Why they are trying to pitch around the strike zone while they should just be trying to jam it and get people to roll it over to either third or short.
Clearly. Now, as a high school player, I pitched and played positions and played all the positions in the infield. But in college, I was just a pitcher. And my senior year, we got a shortstop that was drafted by the Houston Astros out of junior college, a guy named Joe Wendelowski. And I'll never and he decided not to sign. He can't play for us. And I played for William Patterson. And I can tell you right now that when he showed up in the fall, and and the way it works in college is the pitchers, because there's so many infielders, so many players on a college roster, it's up to the pitchers to hit the fungo. So we would have like 4 pitchers hitting fungos at the same time. Everybody had a position. And my luck was that his first day, I'm hitting fungos to the shortstop. So I'm hitting him. Remember, I'm a senior and I'm one of the starters, and I'm hitting ground balls to this guy. So I'm going to challenge him. I'm going to see how good this guy is. He caught everything. I'll never forget walking over to the pitching coach and said, "We ain't losing this year. This guy, we're not losing. This guy can pick it." And that's the whole idea, right? So me, I was a two-seam slider pitcher, which means I played my whole career was just getting ground balls. And you put defense behind a ground ball pitcher, you're going to win big. And guess what? My senior year, we won big. We made to the College World Series. I had a great year. I was 8-1, and had a lot to do with our infield can pick it.
And isn't that the biggest thing, that if you just identify what your strengths and you know what your weaknesses are, that you could have a game plan no matter what? It's not necessarily a case of, these pitchers were trying to strike out the sides here today, but especially for Teaneck, I would think that you try to play more to your defense. We'll see if that's going to change here with a new pitcher in the game in Caleb Wolin. As Wolin, the lefty, fires that one for a strike. He's a junior. Pitched 11 innings worth of work this season, 9 strikeouts, has given up 6 runs, 3 of which have been earned. Runner at first with the leadoff walk is Katayama.
Nice move there. Well, that's exactly right. When I was in high school, I was a strikeout pitcher. I threw hard, but in high school level, I was able just to dominate. When I went to college, all of a sudden those fastballs were turned around into doubles. So, so you had to learn to throw a sinking fastball to get ground balls. But you adjust, and that's what's surprising. First move and still stole the base. That's great.
Great stolen base there by Katayama as he's in safely with his 10th stolen base of the season. Keizo Katayama, the sophomore, is a perfect 10 for 10 now in stolen base opportunities this season for the Bridgmen. And now an RBI opportunity with a runner in scoring position here for Rosa. 0 for 1 today. Drew a walk in the first and then hit into a double play his last time up. Almost identical position to where his last ground ball went. And there's Samek, the shortstop, with a sure-handed play out to first base, but that will move the runner down to third base with one out here in the bottom of the fourth. And a chance here for Fort Lee to potentially tie the game up again.
Yeah, a productive out. Got the guy over to third with less than 2 outs now. Great job. Runner at second, right? If the ball's hit at you or behind you, you advance. If the ball's hit in front of you, you stay. That ball was hit right at him, so therefore he advanced.
Here's Dylan Shulman leading the team with his .442 batting average coming into today's game. He's only increased that after leading off with a hit back in the first inning. Also drew a walk in the second inning. RBI opportunity here for Shulman, who's driven in a team best 16 of the year. Breaking pitch, missing to the outside.
And this lefty for Teaneck looks like he's a junker. He throws a lot of breaking pitches.
Wolin sets and fires. Missing low underneath the kneecaps. 2-1 now to Shulman.
And that wasn't a curveball. It was a straight ball, and it didn't have a lot of velocity. So Dylan should be, like, ready to rock.
Shulman trying to drop that into right field. Tagging from third. A looping throw to home plate. Not going to be in time. And there's the sacrifice fly that'll bring home the fourth run of the ball game for Fort Lee. The sac fly driven in by Dylan Shulman. Now with his team-leading 17th RBI of the season, bringing home Katayama. And we are once again deadlocked, this time at 4-4.
Hey, great job by Dylan, getting a run home in less than 2 outs again, taking the outside pitch to right field. Awesome work there. Great job.
As Casal trying to jump on that looping pitch there from Wolin. 0-1 the count.
See, when you're facing a junk ball pitcher, right, what you want to do is either you're up there sitting on curveballs but knowing what you're going to do with it, or you're just going to take curveballs and just sit on straight balls. Because you know he can't strike you out.
The 0-1, bounce in the dirt.
Right? He doesn't throw hard enough to strike you out, so you just pick one that you want. You could pick either one, but you don't want to pick both. You just be very selective in there.
Now, certainly, I do not come from a baseball background at all. I will admit that, Coach. I come from a wiffle ball background. This has more of a wiffle ball approach, as I don't feel like someone's going to strike me out. It's the case of what type of curves am I going to see here? And there's a beautiful curve ball that Casal just cut up and over for a swinging strike.
Yeah, he's ahead of it. It's hard to wait on that slow pitch, so that's why he might have been better just waiting, like not swinging at those pitches, just until 2 strikes. Right, so if you're going to take curveballs, you don't swing until there's 2 strikes, and then what you do is you move up a little bit on the box. You may crowd the plate a little bit. A guy who doesn't throw hard. If he tries to beat you inside and you get hit with a pitch, it's not going to hurt.
With 2 outs here in the inning and nobody on base, Casal ripping that one down the third base side, but they're going to say that it was fielded in foul territory by Gabe Castro, so Casal will venture back to home plate.
Yep, that was an inside pitch. So Casal did a nice job, put it in play. But, again, Castro, what a great play that was, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Showed it again. If that was a fair ball, he probably threw him out.
And there's a swing and a miss on a fastball to the outside as Casal went down swinging. And that will end the 4th inning of play, but not. Katayama drew the walk, got the stolen base, and then eventually came around to score on the sac fly from Dylan Shulman to tie us up at 4-4 heading to the 5th inning. We head to the top of the fifth inning. A new pitcher into the game now for Fort Lee, and Adrian McCrary. The senior is going to be towing the rubber on the mound after he's normally doing the catching in games. He'll come out of the bullpen here for the Bridgemen with the game tied at 4-4. Teaneck scoring once in the first, twice in the second, and once in the fourth inning. Fort Lee putting up a 3-spot in the first and also scoring the tying run in the fourth inning just momentarily ago. So now with a tie ball game here in the fifth inning to a brand new pitcher with McCrary after the first 4 innings of work were executed there by Louis Nakajima.
Looks like there's a little equipment issue there. There's some rules out there where the pitcher, you can't have white on, and certain gloves you can't use. So I have no idea why McCrary ran into the dugout again, but it looks like it was an equipment thing.
So he seems like he's going to be good to go here to begin the fifth inning. Dan Long, Mike Lepresti, happy that you could join us here on the Fort Lee broadcast station here on YouTube. Second to last home game of the 2020 season, matching the Bridgemen versus the Highwaymen. So McCrary, the right-hander, throws the first pitch too high for a ball, 1-0 against the catcher Kenny Castro.
The thing that pitchers have to constantly fight is to try throwing the ball too hard. And it's not about velocity when you really don't have velocity. It's about changing speeds and command. So, you could, just like the Teaneck pitcher did to end the inning, you don't have to throw hard to beat somebody with a fastball. You just have to constantly change speeds.
Castro eliciting the fly ball. That'll be backed up there by Casal in right field for the first putout of the fifth inning. Leadoff man is retired and now 1 away.
So what's happening now in Major League Baseball is a lot of teams are doing that. They're going with guys who throw real slow and guys that are too slow to hit. It's a big difference transition when you're facing a guy throwing 100, and then now the next guy's in there throwing 75. So it's about timing, it's about waiting on the pitch, keeping your weight back, and bat speed. So when a hitter usually goes from somebody hard fastballs and then seeing something off speed, the tendency is to slow your bat speed down and make contact, and then therefore the ball doesn't go anywhere.
Back-to-back pitches now out of the strike zone by McCrary as he's taking on the right fielder Tyler McDowell. McDowell reached on an error in the second inning and then had a single to right field in the third inning on the first pitch he saw from Nakajima. Check swing there. It's going to be an appeal down to the umpire at first base, and it looks like he said he went around.
He did.
So there's going to be a 2-1 count now against McDowell.
Yeah, so McCrary would be better off just getting it over early in the count and then humping up when he's ahead in the count up in the zone.
And he misses there for ball 4 to the outside. McDowell will be on base safely now for the third time in this game. And that'll bring up the 9th place hitter with 1 away here at the top of the fifth inning, still with the game tied at 4-4.
Yeah, and of course, Adrian's not, he's trying to throw strikes. He's not up there, missing on purpose. But it's just a different philosophy, different mindset. Sometimes it helps out.
7 walks now in the game to Teaneck hitters for the Fort Lee pitching staff. Here's Justin Meyer. Meyer taking that one low underneath the knees, 1-0.
Right, that's the concept right there. Even though he missed, but it was something down in the zone, trying to get it over, trying to get a double play right here.
Meyer hit into a double play back in the third inning. As McCrary missing to the outside, now behind in the count, 2-0. We saw McCrary in that first batter he faced to begin this inning, Kenny Castro, throwing the inside corner pitch for a strike coach, and then that allowed him to work outside and got the fly ball to right field that was harmless. He's been trying to, it's almost like you've been saying, overthrow a little bit too much rather than just try to pitch to the contact. There's a check swing for a strike there by Meyer.
Exactly, and that strategy, pound it inside to open up the outside is a valid one.
There's a swing and a miss on a healthy cut there by Meyer. Good pitch there by McCrary.
Great pitch up and in.
And now that sets him up If anything, he really wants to throw with the 2 strikes now against the hitter after falling behind early 2-0. The 2-2. And there's the fly ball that he's looking for. The pop-up with the second baseman ranging out and making the play there. As Rivera a little bit over the shoulder with the put out, and now there's 2 away with the runner still down at first base. So exactly, Coach, what you've been saying.
Well, I'm glad it worked. You know, the runner was the runner on first was stealing on that play, and you know when that happens, right? When you steal and you know the hitter is going to be swinging, you're supposed to take 1, 2, or 3 steps and then peek to see if the batter hits it. Okay, this way you know if he does hit it, you see where it's going. You can hit the brakes and get back, and that's what that runner did. It's good fundamentals there.
Here's Aries Samek, the shortstop. Hitless today, and McCrary gets over that curveball for a strike. 0-1. Samek struck out in the first and has earned walks in his last 2 plate appearances in the second and fourth innings. 2 outs here, runner at first in the top of the 5th inning. And there's an outside corner pitch for a strike, and quickly McCrary ahead of the count 0-2.
So much better sequence. Now see if he goes up the ladder like he's been doing all along.
One of the rare times today for either team that a pitcher has gotten ahead of the count 0-2. He'll throw over to first for the pickoff attempt, not in time as McDowell gets back in safely.
Adrian has quick feet there. Pretty nice move.
The 0-2 pitch. Missing low. Samek laying off that, and in the process, McDowell gets down to second base with the uncontested stolen base. So that importantly puts now the go-ahead run in scoring position for Teaneck with 2 away here in the top of the 5th inning. So after wasting that 0-2 pitch, let's see where McCrary goes with this one. And that time it hits the batter, and he loses Samek after hit by a pitch, and now it's runners at first and second, as it will head to Kevin Sanchez in the lineup. So that's the first time today that Fort Lee has hit a batter, and that'll bring up Kevin Sanchez. Sanchez, the center fielder, had the inside the park home run in the first inning, struck out in the second, and then reached courtesy of the error in left field his last time up after he had a wind-aided opportunity. That's a ground ball to second base. Rivera knocks it down. Throw over to first with a head-first slide attempt. It denies him the chance there for the single. And that might be the old adage of if you just run straight into the first base bag, you might have made it safely. Sanchez went full extension and dove head-first into first base and was ruled out on the play. So they get the ground ball out, Coach, to get out of that inning. But again, interesting there as Sanchez, again, you're faster if you stay upright, decided that he would propel himself to try to get in there safely, and he's still a little slow getting back to his feet.
I'm not going to argue at all. You're exactly right. He runs straight through. He beats that out. You know, because when you just think about it, when you go, the runner, you think by diving you're going to get there quicker. And yes, your head and your vision seems like it's getting there quicker because your head's closer to the base. So it's like an optical illusion in your head, your brain. But the reality is, by diving, you hit touching the ground, and friction slows you up. So that's why running full speed, you're actually gaining velocity by each time you step and thrust. And therefore, running it out is quicker every time.
Nice play there defensively at second base by Javier Rivera, recording that final out to end the inning and put the 0 up on the scoreboard in the 5th inning for Teaneck. We head to the bottom of 5 now, and it's still a 4-4 ball game. Bottom of the fifth, tie ball game here between Fort Lee and Teaneck. As it's now going to be another inning of work here out of the bullpen for Teaneck. And Caleb Wolin. Wolin taking it on Barakos, the left fielder, as he misses that one outside. So both teams going to their bullpens here in this game. 4-4 the score. We've seen a plethora of walks throughout this game, but not that many runs. Only 8 combined runs in the game between the two sides. Barakos had the sac fly RBI in the first inning, grounded out to third his last time on a nice play by Gabe Castro, as Wolin gets that strike in the inside. With the wind starting to swirl around here in the press box on a beautiful day, a comfortable breeze as Barakos earns the leadoff walk to begin the bottom of the fifth inning. And Fort Lee once again, Mike, with a leadoff runner on safely.
What better way to start a rally, right? First leadoff guy getting on, leading lady gets on first, and now let's see if the playbook gets put into play here by Coach Kraljic. See what they do.
8th walk of the game, and there's the small ball. As Irizarry was trying to put the bunt down the third base line, but it rolled harmlessly out of play in foul territory.
And Teaneck runs the traditional bunt defense. Now, the secret of bunting is really you're trying to catch the ball with the bat. And all you're trying to do is just make contact and steer the ball into a zone. Not trying to put it into an exact spot. You're not trying to bunt it down the line to get a base hit here. What you're trying to do is give yourself up. All you got to do is put it and make sure the pitcher moves to either side of the mound to try to make either him field the ball on a run or make a fielder on a run make the play, and that should move the runner across.
As that pitch missed to the outside and the throw down to first not in time. And as we've referenced a couple times in this broadcast, Mike, this is kind of the lost art form in the sport, that maybe it's not as glamorous as obviously going for the downs and swinging for the long ball, but this is just as important. And there's an effective bunt down the third base line, exactly executed the way that Fort Lee was hoping for, and that'll move the lead runner down into scoring position with one away here. And now the potential go-ahead run down at second base for the Bridgman after the nice sacrifice bunt by Irizarry.
Textbook. Perfect play. Now, here's the thing, though, right? Third baseman vacated, and nobody covered third. So if Barakis was a little more heads up, he would be able to just keep going, went all the way to third because there was nobody covering the bag.
Swing and a miss on the first pitch by Rivera.
Right.
0-1 the count.
And, you're happy he gets to second base, but sometimes a good heads-up play right there can turn the game around.
Because, again, it's just putting the pressure more and more on the pitcher. Now you're dealing with the go-ahead run at third rather than even at second.
Right. And then, in college, what would happen there, it would be the catcher covering third because he's sprinting out to make the bump play even though the third baseman gets it. So he's running that direction and going. In high school level, it's more or less the pitcher who covers the bag.
Wolin ahead of the count now after that slow curveball, 0-2 against Rivera.
College and the pros would be the catcher because you never want the pitcher covering the bag because in the pros and the college level, a runner could do damage to a pitcher covering a base. So that's why you want the catcher covering the bag who's geared up.
Wolin looking in to Kenny Castro, his catcher. The 1-2. Slow curve, strike 3 swinging, foul tipped into the catcher's mitt. That is the second strikeout for Caleb Wolin since coming into this game. He's really unsettled some of these Fort Lee hitters that he's faced because of really the slowness of his pitches. And now he's 1 out away from getting out of the inning with a runner down at second base and 2 away.
I mean, it's really hard to practice slow curves, in batting practice and stuff, right? Batting practice pitchers, and that's what he's getting them out with, is slow curve.
So here's McCrary hitting in the nice spot since coming into this game out of the bullpen for Fort Lee. McCrary, a .316 hitter on the season, 12 base hits, 9 runs driven in. A chance here to give himself and Fort Lee the lead with a base hit.
Yeah, right man, right spot here.
McCrary fouling that one off.
There's a good rip on that. Now, we don't know if Teaneck knows that McCrary's a really pretty good hitter. I mean, he didn't start the game, so now he's batting the 9-hole.
Trying to make Teaneck pay with Baracos standing down at second base. 2 away here after a sacrifice bunts and a strikeout swinging.
You know, it's funny because, you know, I'm old enough. Well, I'll wait till this next pitch goes to tell his story.
Bolin trying to float that one in, but missing to the outside.
So I'm old enough when I played high school baseball before there was a DH. So, and then when I pitched in high school, I would bat ninth because my high school coach, you know, followed like Major League Baseball rules. And I hated it.
There's McCrary getting it knocked down by the second baseman. That will save a run from scoring. But it will be an infield single for McCrary. But an outstanding play there by Ramirez, the second baseman, as it looked like it was destined to find its way into center field with a go-ahead run. Now it's going to be runners at the corners with still 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th inning and a new courtesy runner coming into the game at first base.
Stellar all-around play. Covered a lot of range, kept the ball in the infield, saved a run. That's awesome. It could be a game saver. But I was saying is, like, I usually batted in the middle of the order, and then when I pitched, though, I batted ninth, so I used to hate it. But then I realized, oh, this other team thinks I'm not a good hitter.
I was going to say, you took
so
advantage,
then,
right?
Oh, man, I would get these fat fastballs right down the middle. You know,
as they're thinking, all right, we're going through the 9th place hitter. We just have to make sure we don't worry about the leadoff hitter, and you juiced up.
I remember, pick. There it is.
Throw home, but Fort Lee scores. So Teaneck was getting all caught up in the pickoff move to try to get the runner out in between first and second base, and coming around to score the go-ahead run from third base is Baracos. So now Fort Lee has taken the lead back again, this time at 5-4. Exquisite base running here today for the Bridgemen.
Yeah, that was a great play. That's a playbook play where you purposely get picked, and then you end up stealing on the first baseman. You don't steal, you know, you're not stealing on the catcher, you're not stealing on the pitcher, you're actually stealing home on the first baseman. Worked great.
As Jay-Woo Park is hitting here, the leadoff man. 1 for 2 with a walk here this afternoon for Fort Lee, who've taken the lead back. Swinging early at that one and driving it out of play and out of the Allen W. Sugarman complex here.
That might have hit Coach Straub's car in a bounce out there. Uh-oh.
As Jay-Woo Park trying to potentially drive in another run here for Fort Lee. That pitch missing to the inside. As the runner got down to second base after looked like he was going to be hung up between first and second. And again, the runner at third base took advantage, came around to score. And then the runner was also safe at second base for Fort Lee. Wolin getting that one dropped into the strike zone to get 2 strikes now in Park.
Right, in effect, you know, Teaneck got nothing out of that. They allowed one, and they allowed 2 bases. Great play, great offensive play.
So after that great defensive web gem at second base that saved the run eventually came around to score anyway. And there's Jay-Woo Park swinging and missing. So again, those floating finishes doing wonders for Caleb Wolin, but he does allow the go-ahead run to score there in the bottom of the. We head to the top of the 6th with Fort Lee on top of Teaneck now by a score of 5-4. Top of the sixth inning, again a lead now for Fort Lee. After their base running worked out perfectly for them, scoring that go-ahead run. And another inning of work here out of the pen for Adrian McCrary. McCrary almost had that go-ahead RBI. Had to settle for the infield single, and then the courtesy runner that came into the game for him was the one who distracted the defense for Teaneck and allowed the lead run to go ahead and score from third base. So good moves all around by Fort Lee, but they're not out of the water yet here against Teaneck. As even though Katayama dropped that one, it is a strike against the third-place hitter, Luis Ramirez. Ramirez had a sac fly his last time up in the fourth inning.
Adrian got some heavy lifting this inning. And get through it, though. It'd be a really good thing for Teaneck, for Fort Lee to get this win.
Line drive right into the glove of the right fielder, Casal, who doesn't even have to move over all that much. And again, McCrary retires the leadoff hitter he faces, one away.
And that's an example of that line drive hit right at you, and you can see the ball was low, but Casal made the proper judgment and moved in on it a little bit and right to his glove.
Here's the first baseman, Aiden Vargas. Vargas reached on a walk in the first, struck out looking in the second, and then had the ground ball that came home with it as he hit that down at third base, and a great play there by Rosa to retire the go-ahead potential run for Teaneck back in the fourth inning at home plate. Another pop-up, and that into the hands of, and the glove of Casal. So 2 outs retired by the right fielder. And now there's 2 away with nobody on.
Well, here we go again, right? So now you got to get that second and third out in a row. To be a successful pitcher, right? Prevents any rally from starting or extending.
Third baseman Gabe Castro has a pair of singles in this game. Couple of base hits in the third and fourth innings, respectively, after grounding out to short in his first plate appearance, 2 for 3.
We just saw Jay Wu in center field take a few steps back. So right now, Teaneck, I keep getting mixed up here. I don't know why. Fort Lee is now playing no doubles defense in the outfield.
It's the end of the week. It's a Friday. You get the pass. It's okay.
That's right.
McCrary getting another line drive. This one will fall and go in front and then backwards behind Casal. Was aggressively playing it there. Castro will only head into second base. Fort Lee is fortunate there that it did not even work its way into a triple. But Casal was trying to play that looping line drive, and he went aggressively at it. It went in front of him. He slid past it, and then it rolled behind. And it was backed up by his center fielder, Park.
And that's a pretty good risk. With 2 outs, no men on, he went for it, and then Jay Wu made the play work because he was right there to back it up and prevent an in-the-park home run or even a triple.
And it's also knowing the hitter at the plate, too, Mike, that Castro, not really known for the speed. You know, the third baseman, he did leg out an infield single earlier in the game, but if that were the top of the order with, you know, Samek or Sanchez, that could be potentially dangerous territory if that gets rolling to the wall.
And then with 2 outs, you don't never want to have the third out at third, so the runner is knowing ahead of time, too, he's going to stop at second.
So a double there for Castro, and a pinch runner in the game for him at second base, and Michael Quinn, who started off the game as the pitcher, coming up as that squirted through the wickets of Katayama briefly, but not enough that it would allow the pinch runner to think about heading down to third base, as the runner is going to be number 2, Sono, the senior. Trying to score that tying run here with 2 outs in the top of the 6th inning.
Once again, you got a pinch runner in there, a cold guy off the bench. I would always call some kind of a pick.
McCrary missing that one to the outside, away from Katayama, and that will allow Basono now to head down to third base, moving that tying run ever so closer now here in the top of the sixth inning.
Well, now, Fort Lee's defense has to be tight, prevent that guy from scoring.
McCrary got 2 fly ball outs to right field to begin this inning. Looked like he might have gotten a third consecutive one to right field, but it did fall in front of the charging Casal. Now he's trying to pitch out of trouble here with the tying run down at third base. Got that first strike in the curveball there against Michael Quinn after the first 2 were wild pitches. Quinn, fooled there. Found that run back and nubbed it right back to the pitcher, and McCrary doing a great job of pitching out of trouble there. Amazing, as we saw with that camera angle. Quinn was really, that one almost hit it on the backswing there, Mike, and he dribbled it back to the pitcher. And there's McCrary doing the great job of fielding the position for the easiest of toss plays to get out of the sixth inning.
If we were playing billiards, that was called a masqué shot, I think.
That sounds like a very high-scoring Scrabble word as well. So we will head to the bottom of the sixth inning with Fort Lee still on top here of Teaneck, 5-4. As we go to the bottom of the sixth inning, it's going to be the second place hitter, Katayama. Katayama laying off that first pitch that he saw there from Caleb Wolin. So McCrary doing his job there with 2 outs of straining that runner at third base. That potential tying run for Teaneck. And now for the first time in this game, Coach, we're actually seeing a catcher come out to try to settle down a pitcher who's gone wild on a couple of pitches. As Kenny Castro going out to hand the baseball back to his pitcher, Caleb Wolin, who's starting his third inning of work out of the pen for Teaneck.
Hey, it's only a 1-run game, so all he has to do is, just get guys out, do his job, and get that's what he wants. He wants to get his team hitting as soon as possible, try to gain some momentum.
And Katayama's that fire starter of this offense here today for Fort Lee, and he draws the 4-pitch walk. He drew a walk back in the 4th inning and came around to score. So here's Katayama again now with 3 consecutive walks in this game after flying out to center field his first plate appearance back in the first.
Another leadoff base runner for Fort Lee.
9 walks in the game now surrendered by Highwaymen pitchers. As Wolin now hung up, Katayama in between first and second. Good pickoff move. Katayama in the pickle, trying to get out of it here. Trying to race him back to first base. They slap the tag on him, and Katayama is retired. So after Teaneck nearly got that runner hung up in the last inning, but in doing so allowed the go-ahead run to score from third base, Katayama is picked off on the first move there by Wolin.
Erase. He got totally fooled. Now, the rule of thumb on that is if you get picked, you just keep going. And then again, you're trying to steal the base off the first baseman, who usually has the weakest arm in the infield.
So now Rosa with no one on base in front of him, with one away here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Right.
Fort Lee nursing a 5-4 lead, looking for a little insurance runs. Rosa with a high chopper. Looks like it might have gone off the mound, but still the strong arm there. As Teaneck gets rid of trouble, and it's now 2 away here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
It did. It actually hit the hump, and then it bounced up, and for some reason JoJo had a tough time getting down there. I thought he was going to beat it out. You know, now that's another quirky thing. I don't know if you're aware of this. If that ball hits the rubber and then bounces into foul territory before the bases, it's a foul ball.
I did not know that. I can't say that I've ever seen that actually happen, but now I know if there is that situation, what the official ruling is.
Yeah, it's happened a few times. I've seen it happen a couple of times, particularly like in high school games when the mound isn't as manicured as well as it should be, so the rubber like kind of sticks out. But it specifically says for a fair ball, he'd have to stop.
So if it hits it and then ricochets either to the left or the right, and it goes before the third or first base bags, it is a foul ball.
Yep. If it goes into foul territory, yep.
And Shulman taking a couple strikes here. So Caleb Wolin, after surrendering that leadoff walk, now has a chance to retire at Fort Lee in order 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, another quirky rule. I've only seen this happen once, where a line drive hits the third base bag and then ricochets over the fence in foul territory, and that's a ground rule double because it's a fair ball that went into dead ball area.
So another walk now just earned by Fort Lee. That's the 10th walk of the game for Teaneck pitching. And another walk here for Dylan Shulman, his 2nd walk of the day. So a 2-out base runner here for Fort Lee will bring up Stefano Casal.
Well, let's see if we get another rally going here. And I hope I'm not boring people at home with all this stuff. I've been playing a long time, coaching
Not
a long
at
time.
all.
I've seen a lot of quirky things.
But that's the beauty of the game. That's what, you don't factor into it, where they always say that you go to the ballpark, it could be a completely different game every time. With all the different things and all the different facets and the rules and all different scenarios, as well as that pitch gets away from the catcher, Kenny Castro, and allows Shulman to head down to second base. So there's that insurance run, standing down at second now in scoring position for Fort Lee. Casal with another RBI opportunity, have the RBI double back in the 1st inning. And Casal going with it to the other way for a base hit to right field. Shulman rounding 3rd. There's the throw home. And he's going to have to hustle back to 3rd. He gets in safely. Casal will go into second base as no one is there defensively. So good job there by Shulman. He put the brakes on quickly after that beautiful throw from right field by McDowell to the cutoff man. But with that double, the 2nd of the game by Casal, Fort Lee has something brewing here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Runners at 2nd and 3rd with 2 away.
And that certainly wasn't by design, but it worked well.
As now Teaneck, it looks like they will be going to their bullpen again and bringing in their 3rd pitcher of the game.
It'll be 2nd and 3rd, 1 out when he comes in. And is this relief pitcher off the bench, or was he in the field?
We'll have to take a look here.
Number 19.
As it looks like it's going to be a new player into the game for Teaneck.
Right,
number 19. I don't have a number 19 on their roster, so.
Well, it looks like he has a little bit of zip on the ball, and that's for sure. And after the last pitcher, he's going to look like he's throwing 90 miles an hour.
So who is this masked man now for Teaneck with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th inning? One hit could really open up this game for Fort Lee with runners at 2nd and 3rd with 2 away. If you're just joining us, fans, Teaneck took a 1-0 lead in the 1st inning, but then Fort Lee responded in the bottom of the 1st with a 3 spot to take a 3-1 lead with them into the 2nd. That lead did not last long for the Bridgemen, though, as Teaneck struck for 2 runs to tie the game at 3-3. It remained a tie game. Heading into the 4th inning, Teaneck scored a run to make it 4-3. Fort Lee answered immediately in the bottom of the 4th, making it 4-4. And the Bridgemen would take back the lead with a run scored in the last inning on a big base running play. After one runner was getting hung up between 1st and 2nd, the runner from 3rd scored as the defense was being preoccupied with that pickoff. That gave Fort Lee the go-ahead run, and that's where we currently reside at 5-4, the lead for Fort Lee. And now they have runners at second and third with 2 away here.
Well, on my scorecard, there are 2 names on the list that don't have numbers. It's either Marcos Castro or Eli Rojas. So that's who's pitching, one of those 2 guys.
What we do know is who's hitting right now, and that's
Yep.
Achilles Baracos here for Fort Lee as he takes the first pitch inside for a ball, 1-0. Achilles drew a walk back in the last inning, and he was the runner at third who came around to score on that pickoff play executed to perfection by Fort Lee. Trying to frame that pitch to the outside was Kenny Castro. Could not get the call. It's now 2-0 in favor of Fort Lee at home plate. Coming down to the finish line here, can Fort Lee pull the upset and defeat Teaneck? Pitch taken high for a ball. It's now 3-0. And a walk here would load the bases for Fort Lee. Baracos with 1 RBI already today with his sac fly early in this game. He's taking the strike all the way on the 3-0 count, now 3-1.
All right, so Achilles right now, he should be hacking, right? He should be selective, but he should be hacking. Knock drives in 2 runs here.
The 3-1. There's the ground ball. Taken on one fell swoop by Samek. He is a vacuum cleaner there at short for the 6-3 putout to end the inning. As now to the top of the 7th inning. 3 outs away is Fort Lee from their 5th win of the year. So now we go to the top of the 7th inning. And the ball is still in the hands of number 3, Adrian McCrary. McCrary came into this game after the first 4 innings, was pitched by Nakajima. Now McCrary with a chance here to finish things off in style as he faces the bottom of the lineup, the 7, 8, and 9 hitters. And he throws that one behind the back of Kenny Castro. 1-0 the pitch.
You know, and after all those warm-ups, it always surprises me how a pitcher can miss the strike zone by that much. That's better.
And there's that location on the follow-up pitch. Now, in the hitter's head, are you thinking that he misses so badly that it's like you're almost a little nervous there for the second pitch, and that kind of works head games in favor of the pitcher?
No, I'm thinking Eddie Klimek, old school guy. He's taking the first strike down a run in the 7th inning.
And there's a breaking pitch on the swinging strike. It's now 1-2 the count against Kenny Castro. McCrary again trying to retire the first hitter he faces in an inning. Trying to go for that outside corner, missing wide. It's now 2-2.
Yep, and McCrary threw a really good pitch on 1-1 breaking pitch. Tried to double it up. Hey, it's going to be a fastball up and in right now.
Teaneck down by a run, trailing 5-4 here in the top of the 7th. There's the high fastball, and ducking to get out of the way is Castro. And now he's worked the count full at 3-2.
Yeah, the hitter didn't take the bait on that. So now Adrian just has to throw it over. But make the defense do the work.
He's been doing that successfully out of the pen here today, but misses there for ball 4. And the tying run for Teaneck is on, and also the leadoff runner is on to begin here in the 7th inning of play.
Unfortunate, but, let's see what Teaneck does now. Because old rules of thumb, when you're on the road, you don't play for tie, you play for a win. So if he's playing for tie, he's going to bunt here. If he's playing for a win, he's either going to try to steal or going to try to hit and run, do something else.
Tyler McDowell, the right fielder. McDowell has reached safely in all 3 appearances here today. He reached on the error in the 2nd inning, which should have been a double play ball. Then had a base hit in the first pitch he saw in the 3rd and drew a walk his last time in the 5th inning.
Well, he looked like he tried to bunt there, or fake bunt on that. Looks like trying to bunt for a hit.
He's going for the bunt again, and he swings and misses into the catcher's mitt. There's a strike now against McDowell.
Yep, curveball. All right, what Fort Lee's trying to do is erase the lead runner. That's all they need to do, 1 out at a time.
Holding on to a 5-4 lead, nobody out here in the top of the 7th, trying to get that pitch to the outside, but the umpire ruling also is a little high. Going against Tyler McDowell. Runner at first, nobody out, top of the 7th. McDowell fouled off that way as he was jammed on the play there by McCrary.
Yep, Coach Clemick, see, he pulled the bunt off, so he's not playing for tie right now. He's playing for a big inning.
His team trailing by 1 here on the road. McDowell lofting that one deep to right field, pushing Casal back out against the wall. And that'll ricochet, and now the lead runner will take the turn around second. The throw is into the shortstop, gets away from him, and McDowell with a double here in the top of the 7th. And now the tying run is down at third base. The go-ahead run in scoring position himself at second base, and another big hit there by Tyler McDowell. The way that Casal was playing that off the bat kind of seems like he was fooled there, and might have been, again, the case, Coach Lepresti, of the wind moving that out a little bit further than maybe he initially thought off the bat.
Yeah, Stefano didn't have a good attempt on that one. He needed the drop step spin. He tried to backpedal, and any athlete knows you don't pick up a lot of ground when you backpedal. They're short, choppy steps. So that's why you have to drop step, spin, and run back to the fence. And, it hurt him a little bit there. Still almost made the play, but it's unfortunate.
There's a fastball at belt level against Justin Meyer. Meyer had a walk in the 2nd, hit into a double play in the 3rd, and popped up to second base last time in the 5th inning.
And not to take away McDowell. McDowell crushed it, hit the fence there.
Swing and a miss. Fooled that time was Meyer, and now McCrary a strike away from what could be a huge strikeout. Here at the top of the 7th, still no outs. Runners at 2nd and 3rd. Tying run down at third base. Here in the 7th for Teaneck, trailing 5-4 in this ballgame. As Meyer will step out and ask for time. He's the 9th place hitter. The dangerous Aries Samek waiting on deck. He's the leadoff hitter. And he has yet to get a base hit so far in this game. McCrary missing high on that one as Meyer does a good job of staying off it.
Fort Lee's playing infield in, I'm a little surprised. I would,
You would give up the tying run just to get the out?
Yes, that's what I would do.
Here's McCrary looking for a potential strikeout. Missing low. Meyer staying off that one.
Yeah, because a routine grounder, you'll get an out. But now at infield in, a routine grounder could be a base hit, knock in 2.
Meyer, the ninth place hitter, playing left field here this afternoon, trying to deliver in the 7th inning with his team down by 1. And missing for ball 4, so after Meyer fell behind early in the at-bat, yet again another hitter battles back to draw the walk, just as we saw Kenny Castro do to lead off this inning. So the first 3 hitters to face McCrary here in the top of the 7th have reached safely. Castro with a walk, McDowell with a double, and now Meyer with a walk, and that brings up Ari Samek to home plate with the bases loaded and nobody out, and his team down by 1.
Well, a force at every base.
McCrary missing on those pitches. Now 1-0 the count against Samek. What are you seeing, Coach, from McCrary?
His feet are ahead of his arms. Arms dragging right now, so he needs to slow down a little bit. Regain his composure, much better.
There's Samek, found that into the backstop. 1-1 the count.
That was much better. Still, the pitch was up in the zone. Got away with it. But with infield in right now, Teaneck, right now, it should be chomping at the bit right here.
Again, bases loaded, nobody out, top of the 7th inning. McCrary getting the ground ball, high chopper to third, forced out at home plate, but the catcher missing it. And Teaneck will score the tying run. And still it remains bases loaded with nobody out here in the top of the 7th, and 5-5 the score.
Well, on that play, right, it was a high hopper, so JoJo at third base, he left his feet, even though he didn't have to. He kind of misjudged that. But then he set his feet, and then our catcher, what he did was he stretched too early. He needed to straddle the base and then stretch toward the ball. And when you got that catcher's glove out there, it's sometimes, if it doesn't hit the pocket right, ball just doesn't stick.
It caromed off the edge of the catcher's mitt that time. Katayama also pointed to his chest afterwards, saying, "My bad." But still, that doesn't rectify the situation here. Bases loaded, still with nobody out. And now the game tied at 5-5 and brings up Kevin Sanchez, who has a home run and an RBI in this game. Sanchez ripping that one foul down the right field line. Now it's the game within the game, Mike. How does McCrary respond after seeing the first 4 hitters he's faced here in the inning reach safely? Should have gotten the ground ball out there in a force out. Would have still been 1 out in the inning, but how do you hunker down here and not allow this to be a huge inning for Teaneck?
Well, it's all about poise, and it's all about you got to take 1 out at a time, 1 pitch at a time here. And you just got to go with the situation and use each pitch to try to get the batter out.
Swing and a miss. That was a beautifully orchestrated pitch as Sanchez goes down swinging. He was anticipating a fastball there. He got a very slow off-speed pitch, and now there's that first out of the inning.
Great call. After he turned on a fastball and hooked it foul, throw an off-speed breaking pitch, got him.
So now not out of danger yet. 1 out in the inning. Luis Ramirez now. Ramirez, who lined out to right field his last time up in the 6th inning. As I've mentioned a couple of times in this game, the RBI leader on the season for Teaneck.
Oh, double play. They're out of the inning. See if they can get it. They're playing back for 2.
There's a pitch on the outside corner for a strike. 0-1 for McCrary.
Right, corners up, short and second back for a double play. So ground ball to first, pitcher or third, they're going to go home. Ground ball to short and second, they're going to try to turn 2 through the middle.
Teaneck scoring once in the first, twice in the second, once in the 4th, and once here in the 7th. To tie the score up now at 5-5. McCrary to Ramirez. Ramirez checking, and still it falls in for a strike. So McCrary now starting to settle down a bit here, and the tension starting to lift in this game. He's starting to find that location of the outside corner again.
A sweet pitch. You should follow it up with an outside fastball.
There's a ground ball, ripped fair down the third baseline. That'll score at least 2. Rumbling around third, there's Teaneck trying to score again, and he shows off the blazing speed there. And a big-time knock here in the top of the 7th inning with the bases loaded. Ramirez with the double down the third baseline, clears the bases, and now Teaneck leads by 3.
Wasn't a bad pitch. Kind of like he looked like he was going away, floated over the plate, and Ramirez turned on it, hit it right down the line. And of course, with all that speed on the bases, boy, 3 runs, clears the bases. Tough one.
So now Teaneck has produced 4 here in the top of the 7th inning to turn a 5-4 deficit into an 8-5 advantage on that 3-run double by Luis Ramirez. And from Ramirez, he continues his hot play at the plate now with a team-leading 21 RBIs on the season.
So McCrary's job right now is to stop the bleeding, end it there, prevent Teaneck from scoring any more runs, because now it's a 2-run deficit.
Here's number 12, Daniel Scott, who's come into this game.
And even though Fort Lee has struggled this year, their wins have been come from behind wins. So 2 of their wins come from behind. So if he could stop it right here, still have a chance in the bottom of the 7th.
And that was just a hard hit, perfectly placed shot down the line as well from Ramirez, as we saw Rosa was close to the bag on the third base side.
Yep, that's the problem with playing up, right? That was an example right there. You lose range. If he's playing where he is right now, he might have been able to dive or slide to stop the ball and keep the ball in the infield. But because he was playing up, trying to play it for us at home, and that was correctly what he was doing, the ball beat him to the spot.
Daniel Scott goes down swinging with the second strikeout of the inning. Now there's 2 away here for Teaneck. With the runner still down at second base, here's a looping shot. That'll fall in front of the left fielder, and coming around the third base side to score another run in the inning is Ramirez. First ball swinging, RBI single there for Gabe Castro, as Teaneck continues to pile on the runs here in the top of the 7th. And for Gabe Castro, Coach, 4 hits I have him down for in this game. A single in the 3rd, a single in the 4th, a double in the 6th, and now an RBI single here in the 7th.
He's having a stellar game, and he muscled that one out. He got up the label a little bit, still muscled it right to the perfect spot over the shortstop's head.
So 3 hits in this inning for Teaneck, along with 2 walks, accounting for this big inning. And now Michael Quinn at the plate, and Quinn ripping it down the third base side, but ruled foul. Quinn is the 9th hitter for the Highwaymen here in the 7th inning. Started with a walk to Kenny Castro, then a double by Tyler McDowell off the right field wall, a walk to Justin Meyer, and then Teaneck reached on a throwing error, or an error, we should say, by the catcher after they were trying to go for the force out at home. Kevin Sanchez struck out, and then the big hit of the game. Luis Ramirez with the bases loaded, clearing the bases with his 3-run double. And Ramirez just driven home on the RBI single by Castro. 5 runs home here in the top of the 7th inning. For the Highwaymen looking for their 10th win of the season. That's foul tipped for a strikeout against Quinn. So work to do here for the Bridgemen as Fort Lee down to their final 3 outs as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. So now it's rally time for Fort Lee, as they will have to try to bounce back after a heavy blow delivered against them in the 7th inning. With 5 runs home for Teaneck, a swing and a miss there by Ryan Irizarry, the first baseman. Irizarry was hit by a pitch in the first, drew a walk in the third, and had a sacrifice bunt his last time up in the 5th inning. Back into the backstop, and now 2 strikes against the Fort Lee first baseman. Fort Lee scoring 3 times in the first, once in the 4th, once in the 5th. And they were trying to salt away the victory. They were leading by 1 heading into this 7th inning. But Teaneck has responded in full force. Irizarry lunging forward, trying to dump that one into center field, but coming into play, the shallow fly ball is Sanchez. And the first out is recorded here in the bottom of the 7th.
I mean, things look bleak, but I'm telling you, and at this level of baseball, it's just a matter of getting something started. Mm-hmm. And then they hear footsteps. The team hears footsteps, and it's like you don't know when the next out's going to happen. And that's exactly what you want to get in their heads. You want to just same thing that happened to Fort Lee when they were in the field. You know, all of a sudden things mount, and then momentum happens, and the next thing you know, you put one hit, and you get a bunch of runs.
Now the other side of it, Coach, Teaneck, as we see this pitch go too high against Javier Rivera. Teaneck is an experienced ball club, senior laden. That same experience plays a part heading into the 7th inning, down only a run. You have to be thinking, hey, we're going to have our experienced batters coming to the plate here. We're going to do something. And that's where it seemed like the experience paid off against a very young Fort Lee side there, trying to secure those final 3 outs.
Clearly, of course, it works both ways, right? You know, and then there's no substitute for experience. But this, the greatness of this game, I've been saying it forever, as long as I've been alive, and so many people have said it as well. There's no clock.
Exactly.
So you have to. It's 21 outs in this game. You have to get all 21 to win the game.
Rivera gets on base, which is exactly what Fort Lee needs in this situation. They need the base runners, and that'll bring up the 9th place hitter, Adrian McCrary. McCrary was robbed of a potential RBI his last time up, settled for the infield single. Takes that inside corner pitch for a strike, 0-1.
Right, so now that's the runner Fort Lee needs to start a rally, and it's up to this next hitter up here, right, McCrary, right, to keep the rally going, keep the line moving. But on the flip side, Teaneck's like, all right, we got a 3-run lead, no big deal, right? There's a runner up there, no big deal, let's play for a double play.
And doesn't it always seem to come back to haunt you when you have that leadoff hitter get on base? And that's what happened with McCrary with the walk in that last inning. It just always seems like it manufactures itself, especially when you get late in a ball game. Maybe it's just me as a Mets fan talking, but it always seems like that big first out, if you can't get it, it somehow comes back to haunt you.
So you're a long-suffering Met fan like me?
Absolutely. And there's a hit batter. So hope is still alive here for Fort Lee. Runners on first and second with 1 away here in the 7th inning. And down by 4, if they can get another runner on, the potential tying run would come to home plate.
Oh my God, you're right, down by 4. I missed a box last inning. I said 3. I forgot the color in the box. Right, so anyway, but even though, there you go, right? So now you got the line moving, right?
And the top of the order coming up now.
Top of the order, right? So right now, Teaneck's not hearing footsteps, but so the coach goes out there, try to calm down. Hey, look, dude, we're up 4. The tying run's not even at the plate yet. Just work outs, 1 out at a time. There's 1 out already. Let's get this guy.
Plus, this is what creates gray hairs for a pitching coach or a head coach. You get the first out of the inning if you're Teaneck, and then you're giving up base runners, and nobody's collected a hit yet. A walk and a hit batter. You're not even forcing Fort Lee to make the contact with the bat, as that first pitch crosses the plate for a strike against Jae-Woo Park. Park, who has one of those hits, he led off the game with a single and eventually came around to score the first run of the game for the Bridgemen. Here's a hit to right field, but it stays up in the air, and that's going to be an out. And now Fort Lee is down to their final out of the game. After ranging over was Justin Meyer to make the play.
Yeah, but when Jay would hit that, I thought that was going to drop in for a base hit, but like I said, it hung up in the air and leads to a fly out to left. So here we go. But still, nobody wants to make last out here, right? That's what it comes down to. Don't make the last out.
Kanayama, one of the best hitters on this team, has drawn 3 consecutive walks in this game. Takes the high strike to make it an 0-1 count.
All right, Fort Lee taking a strike there.
Again, if Katayama can get on and continue this going, the tying run would come to home plate, and you're having some of the big power bats in the lineup for Fort Lee due up next. Missing to the outside, evening the count now at 1-1. Rosa waiting on deck for Fort Lee. Following him is Schulman and Casal. The 1-1. Katayama lining it down the third baseline for a base hit. That'll drive in a run. And again, hope is alive here for Fort Lee. They pull back to within 3, and now the tying run will come up here in the bottom of the 7th inning with runners on first and second. And the lead for Teaneck is now trimmed to 9-6 on the RBI single by Keizo Katayama.
Yes, and Katayama turning that fastball down the line. And, of course, now down so many runs, you have to play conservative. Normal game, he probably would have been second and third right there, but tying run at the plate, better off playing conservative.
There's Rosa taking the first pitch low for a ball, 1-0.
Right, you can't take any risks right here. You got to go station to station, see if you can continue the line, move the line, continue the line going.
Rosa, 359 hitter on the season. Takes that second pitch for a strike, evening the count now at 1-1.
Right, taking the first strike.
Again, if he can get on, Coach, that would bring up Dylan Schulman, who's the team's leading hitter. Runners on first and second, 2 outs here, bottom of the 7th. Looping, breaking ball, missing high. It's now 2 balls against Rosa. 2-1 the count.
Well, right now, it doesn't look like Teaneck's a little not nervous yet. They're very comfortable right now with that big lead. But if JoJo gets on, you'll see the temperament be a little changed.
That pitch missing to the outside, and now it's a 3-1 count. And the problem with this pitcher for Teaneck, he has not been throwing strikes after getting the early outs in this inning. A fly out to center, followed by a walk and a hit batter. Then a fly out to left field, followed by the RBI single down the third base line. Here's the 3-1. Rosa chasing after it, lofting it, looping it into right field. Oh, what a diving play! And what a way to end the ball game. A defensive web gem there in right field by McDowell. McDowell, who used that speed to score in the top portion of the 7th inning, used the speed to venture in from right field to make the diving catch to rob Rosa of a bloop single that would have kept this game going for Fort Lee. What a play there, Coach, to end the game, and what a comeback victory for Teaneck. And a good comeback attempt there in the bottom of the 7th by Fort Lee. Just ran out of time and ran out of real estate.
Absolutely. What a great play to end the game. And that's the difference of the game, right? They diving catch, that diving catch works for Teaneck, and Fort Lee's diving catch earlier in the game didn't, which led to run. So hey, look, before Lee again proves again, they fought right down to the last at bat. Nobody wanted to make the last at bat. Still rallied down runs late in the game. So the future looks good for Fort Lee.
So Teaneck with a victory will improve to 10-8 on the season. Fort Lee will fall to 4-12 overall in 2021. The next game for Fort Lee will be on the road against Ridgefield Park. They'll also then travel to Demorest and Mahwah before coming back home to playing their final home game of 2021 here on May 29th on Saturday against Park Ridge. So again, thank you everybody for tuning in to another edition of Fort Lee Bridgman Baseball, as this has been a production produced by Jordan Sarnoff and the Fort Lee Athletic Department. And for my broadcast analyst, Mike Lepresti, I'm Dan Long, saying so long from Allen W. Sugarman Field, as you've been watching Fort Lee Baseball. Take care, everybody.